everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Theresa Bartelle with Bartelle's Financial Coaching, and today we will have Janet with us. She was married for 16 years and is now divorced and on her own, and I hope that the content that we will be presenting to you today will be a blessing to your life. And if you enjoy the content, I ask that you would subscribe to my channel. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hi Janet, how are you?
How you doing? Hello, I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you so much for saying yes. It means a lot to us that you're here with us, and we know that your story is going to be a blessing to someone else out there that's listening. And so now, can you give us a little bit of information, background story about you and your marriage?
Okay. So I was married for 16 years. My husband and I met in ministry at the church, and I was over the children's church, and one day he's an artist. He does photography where he draws pictures on wood. And so he came to me as the person over, my pastor sent him to me as over the children's church and said he wanted to do some artwork. And so that's how we began to talk in regards to the children's church. And I did at that time say to him, well, we need to meet with the pastor because we need to know the vision of the church before we make decisions about what we're going to do in the children's ministry. So we had an appointment with the pastor, and he said that they were going to do some rebuilding. And so he said, well, wait on that decision and we'll come back to see what we want to do. So then at that time, not my husband, he said, well, is it okay if we just continue to talk?
Wow.
So I said, yes, sure. So A led all the way to Z, and we got married, and for 16 years, he said throughout those years that he no longer wanted to. So as an intercessor and a prayer warrior, I was believing God for the covenant that I made with him and in front of God and man, as the scripture says. And so more time went by, and I guess he was thinking about it more and more. And so he literally one day, I was at a diaper giveaway event with my son and his friend and a whole lot of other people. I came home one day we lived in Burlington, Kentucky, and I came home one day and found papers on my kitchen table.
So, like, when y'all first got married, was it like a good marriage? Like, was it a happy marriage? Did y'all go through this blissful stage?
We did. We had good times. We traveled. We actually got married in my pastor's office, and we had family. It's just you say family. There no, and then that was in October, and then in March we decided to do the reception, and then that's when we went away. So my dream place was, because I used to tell my grandmother when I was a little girl I was going to take her to Hawaii, and so she had already passed before then. And so he asked me where I wanted to go, and I said Hawaii, because I remember what I had told my grandmother. And so that's where we went. We waited till the following year, that March, and we did the reception, and we went to Hawaii for a week for a little, honeymoon. So yes, we had good times. We traveled with our ministries. We were right-hand men and women with our pastors. We were in the ministry. I was over women's ministry and intercessor and all those other titles that they probably don't use anymore, like the mother's board and the head of this and head of that, and And so I did a lot of things in the ministry. He was, and I won't say was, because the intercessor, I won't say that he's no longer. He worked with men in the ministry. So we traveled with our pastors. Doing different things outside of the ministry for business purposes. So yeah, we did a lot of things. We had a lot of days of laughter. He was in the Marines, staff sergeant in the Marines, and he had injury in the Marines doing a maneuver, and so he was medically released, which is, I found out later, is different than retiring. They consider it differently. I talked to them about that. So they informed me of that. And so there was some difficult times, medical times, VA times, visits, and there was some hard times, seeing different things that he went through in his body. So yeah, we had all of that, that you think of in a marriage, of enjoying laughter, traveling, Actually, when we got married, we were in an apartment. We moved into his apartment. And then 2 years later, before maybe a year or so later, the Lord spoke and said, we're just going to get a home. And so he didn't want one because he had previously had one with his previous experience. And we discussed that. And he didn't like it. And so the Lord told me to let it go. Because the Lord said it, that's it. I'm done. Let's start packing. I'm a packing girl. He said, let's do this. And so I did. I started packing because of what I heard the Lord say. But he was bucking up against it. He didn't want it. And so the Lord told me to let it go. Just stop. So I said, okay. Stop packing, stop doing everything, stop talking about it. I did. And I was at home. We was in our apartment one day and he came home just as excited because he met somebody in Hobby Lobby, in Kinko's, that was building a home from the ground up. And they talked and he came in excited. I was surprised because I stopped talking about it. And he said, we're going to go see this house. And I'm thinking, go see this house? I said, they want a house. I'm like, what? But I obeyed God. And I just stopped talking about it, stopped packing. I wouldn't even mention it. And I'm like, I haven't said anything about that. He was like, no. I met this guy and he goes, and he's building this house. And he told me about it. And I told him we're going to come and see it. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever, God. Whatever, because I was shocked. I was like literally shocked. We went to see this home in less than 6 months before Thanksgiving. We were in that house.
Yeah, he was obedient to the word.
We were in that house. And God just moved just like that. And it wasn't me pushing him. It wasn't me, persuading him. The Lord said, stop. I stopped.
Obedience is better than sacrifice.
It is.
And he blew my mind. So we were in that house for 14 years before I seen that envelope on the table.
Wow.
And looked at it. He signed for it and put it on the table and left. So he wasn't there when I saw it. And thank God my son and his friend was with me because I wasn't by myself when I found it.
When you found the letter, what is it called?
The divorce.
Decree, right? Divorce decree.
Yeah.
He left it on the table for you.
Yes.
He wasn't there.
No, yes. And he didn't tell me he did it. So I didn't know that he had done it, actually done it. And so I was working remote at the time because the companies were closed because of COVID. So I was in my office one day and I got a phone call and his attorney called and said, is this Mrs. Duncan? And I said, yes. And he said, this is attorney so-and-so. Your husband asked me to call you and tell you that he filed for divorce. And he said, I can represent you and both of you if you like. And it went from there.
Wow, you got a question?
I do, because what I want to do before we go to their story, we go there. Let's go back to the part where y'all was married and was blissful and stuff. And let's talk about like your finances. Like, was your husband managing your finances? Did you like co-manage the finances? How did that work?
So my husband did most of the finances. I was not very good at it. I wasn't conscious of money. I've never been that conscious of it. And just a little backdrop, so I won't take you too far. Growing up, I was raised by my grandmother. It was 8 of us. My grandmother took all 8 of us in when my mom and dad left. And so, and she was an empty nester when she did that, by the way, in her mid-50s. Wow. And so all of this was my mom's mother. And all of them were grown and gone, of course, and the children. So she raised us. And that generation didn't talk about money. They just handle their business. And my grandmother was one of those. And she said every tub sits on its own bottom. She meant that. You handle your business. So I never heard her talk about money, never heard her talk about a bill, never heard her talk about, how much this is going to cost. I never heard that. I was never money conscious. And I didn't even realize it.
Wow.
But it affected my relationships and my ways of doing things. Not her fault, but I didn't realize that there was a root there and I wasn't conscious of it. And so it affected the marriage as well because he had one way of thinking about money and I didn't have a thought at all. Like, just pay the bill. I mean, okay. Well, I wasn't even conscious enough to say, okay, let's just sit down and work this out. Yeah. Now, I wasn't a spring chicken. I'd been around for a while. But I didn't realize I had that. I don't know if I want to call it a blockage or I just wasn't aware. So there would be conversations about things arguments about things, disagreements about things, agreement about things. And I just didn't, as a wife, I didn't fulfill my role in that area, the financial area.
Okay.
So he would make decisions and I would just agree.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my mind, if it didn't happen, is why are you upset? You the one said do it.
Mm-hmm. So
I didn't say do it.
when you say you don't believe you fulfill your role as a wife in the finances, can you tell the audience what you mean by that? Like now looking back, what do you think the role is of a wife with the finances with her husband?
Well, since I haven't been in that role as a wife, I can tell you what it is as a single person because I didn't do it as a wife.
Okay.
But my understanding is if you're in a covenant with someone, a marriage with someone, to me, that's the decisions that both of you should make and both of you should participate in. So it's,
Right.
I don't think it's not, I don't really think. Now, again, I'm coming from where I am now, not where I was, okay, to be fair to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a walk with both of you. Just like the marriage, both of us, when you turn around and you say I do, and you turn and face the church or the audience or whoever's there, it is now, whatever is happening is now us.
Right.
I didn't have clear understanding of that portion in the finances.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't. So I'm sure there were plenty of times when he felt like he was doing everything. Actually, he would say that. Mm-hmm. So then I would say, okay, so what do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And so we discuss something. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Mm-hmm. And so I'll do it. But then because of me not having that practice of doing it, recall of doing it, I will start and stop.
Okay.
After a period of time, I don't know. I just thought about something else and there it was. Mm-hmm. And so, which was not fair to our agreement and our union. And so I would just, and then he'll say something else or he'll get frustrated about something else. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, but I didn't do it. Mm-hmm. But in his mind, well, I can't talk about his mind, but it made sense to me after a while. Oh, okay. It's not really considered doing it if you're not consistent with doing it.
Right. And can you give us,
that's true.
Yeah, and that's
consistency.
True. But when you're saying this, can you give the audience an example of like what you're talking about? Like what, can you remember something he may have asked you to do, but you didn't do it consistently?
So, example, like if it was a certain bill, can you do this? Can you do that? Mm-hmm. And I would say, yeah. So maybe gas and electric, telephone bill, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I would do it maybe for some months and then I would just not think about it and I'll do something else. And then he'll bring it up to me where it's like, now I'm doing this, this, and this. And you're not helping. And I'm like, well, I did do it. I'm like, oh, well, I may not have done the last one, but I did it 2 months ago. It was like, I just wasn't very conscious. So I can't say that I was. You asked me, I'm gonna tell you. This wasn't. And so then I got to a point, and this is something. Sometimes I realized I just didn't do that with finances. I did that with several things in my life, and I didn't realize it played a role in other things in my life that I would do, and I would stop.
Okay, Janet. Now, in the state that you're in now, and looking back over your life, I would like for you to give some recommendations to our audience who's looking for women. Like when they're dating, can you elaborate on that for us?
I can, just in my experience. Dating to me now is totally different than when I dated my husband before. Because I wasn't conscious of money. I wasn't conscious of knowing, what we should have been talking about, what we should have been discussing. So if you pull up in a fancy car, and you take me to nice restaurants, and I'm not referring to, I said fancy restaurant, okay? Not McDonald's. Yeah. And so,
not McDonald's, no.
And you're paying for the bill and saying, no, I got this. So I'm not thinking you have any inconsistencies of money, finances, or your practices of that. I wasn't aware of money. Like I said, when we started out, I was not conscious of money. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't thinking, I wonder if he's paying his bills on time. I wonder if he's been consistent. I wonder if, the car is the only thing that matters to him. I don't know if this dating is just an impression. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when we're sharing and dating, I had to learn that a lot of that is surface. I know you as my date. Mm-hmm. I can't find out who you are as my husband until you're my husband.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a different man.
Right.
And to be fair to him, to be fair to me, I'm a different woman.
That's true.
I'm your date right now. You won't know me as your wife until you marry me. I won't know you as my husband until you are my husband.
So in other words, ain't no play husband wife.
No, there's no play. We can play all day in the day on the date. I can give you my best. You don't know what I look like in the morning, and I'm not gonna live with you before you find out.
That's right. That's right.
Until you put a ring on it. So I don't know you as that man. You don't know me as that woman. To be fair to both sides.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I can't say he's pretending. That's who he is as a date.
Right. But who he is.
But who he is will be as my husband. I won't know that. So you learn in dating, and you learn in marriage.
Right. And so, like, when you're dating somebody, like for a woman who might be listening now that just got a divorce in the process of getting a divorce, like when you're dating, should you ask the person that you're dating about their finances, or should you observe how they are with their finances? Would you say, like, it's surface? So do you think you really don't know how they are with their finances until you marry them, or should you ask?
That's a good question. And since I haven't arrived at that point yet, I would say, depending on why I'm dating them, if I'm dating to marry, then those questions are necessary. But if we haven't arrived at that decision, we can go to the movies and your bills, if your bills not paid, it's none of my business.
Right.
But if we've spent the quality time together and decided we want to date to marry and we want to make a life out of this, then yeah, we need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
With the finances.
And I need to be open enough to share. You need to be open enough to share your inconsistencies, the parts where you failed and got back up again. The areas where I had to grow in and didn't know about things. Those to me are important conversations. I know that now. We were counseled before we got married.
Wow.
We were counseled before we got married.
Did finances company?
It did in counseling.
And so what happened with that?
We didn't go into depth with it. We didn't. We it was counseling, but advising we need to talk about this.
Oh, so during the
session, it was okay. You need to talk about your, because counseling is you need to talk about your finances. This is, but it wasn't a. And I've never counseled anybody on marriage or finances, so I'm not being judgmental to anyone that did the counseling. I would say it wasn't a let's park it here. What are you gonna do? Who's gonna pay this? Who's gonna do this? What did you decide on that? What did you do? It wasn't that.
Right. It wasn't.
It wasn't in that depth of counseling, but we did discuss. Okay, that's an important part. You need to know what you're gonna do. You need that portion. So did we leave and go talk about that?
Did y'all?
No.
So y'all went to the counseling session.
That was the only conversation that was about it. Was right there.
So
right there.
I guess so it was opened up. The finance was open during discussion at counseling, but it remained at counseling.
It remained at counseling.
It didn't go any further after counseling and say, hey, you know what, that was a great topic. Let's expand on that and kind of discuss, our shortcomings, our expectations with the finances when we get married, all of that stuff. What do you expect from me? What I expect from you? Do you understand finances, right? So then that was discussed. Okay.
It wasn't. And that everything what you just said need to be said. Because if somebody asked me that, my answer would have been no. I didn't.
So why do you think y'all didn't talk about it? Do you think it because it was uncomfortable? Because really, in general, people don't like talking about finances.
Lack of trust.
Can you say that again and say it a little louder?
I know why. There's a lack of trust.
Lack of trust.
He was not going to reveal his finances to me. And I was not going to talk about my money that I made.
But you was going to marry him.
So
with lack of trust. But did I know that then? No, I didn't know that.
That's pretty powerful.
That's powerful.
I didn't know.
Yes, that's pretty powerful because to me, if you're thinking about it, and I guess this would be maybe a lot of people if you think about this, if you trust somebody to like take you out, to show you a good time, to eventually marry you, and you share a union together, you become one when you get married, but then you have the finance issue that you didn't trust me in. Yeah, you trust me in other areas.
Other areas, yeah.
That's really important too. So it's like, ooh.
So that's a key word that you used. Important. So in my mind, that was not
And in his mind, either it must not have been priority because he didn't talk about it.
It was priority for him as an individual, but not as a couple. So it was important to him. Finances was huge to him, but as an individual, not as someone coming alongside, a partner coming alongside, walking with him alongside the finances. So but again, I didn't realize that. So when you said, what did you say, important? If my priority is something else, then I'm not focusing on that area.
Yes.
That wasn't priority to me. And I didn't realize it needed to be at that time. Now, I will say this to anyone that's listening. Everyone is not as clueless as I was in this area. Mm-hmm. Some people are very knowledgeable. Some people are very well and versed, because you said that was part of what growing up was to you. It wasn't for me. So this part probably will become easy to someone that they are conscious of it. It is priority. I just figured if I needed something, I can get it. It didn't. If you didn't give it to me, then God will make a way. That was my concept.
Right.
Okay. And even though I'm not saying there's something wrong with that.
Right. But
there's a whole lot of missing pieces in that puzzle. Mm-hmm. But I still, to today, now I'm more aware of finances now, but I still believe if I have a need, if I don't see it in the bank, it don't matter to me, because I know God will make a way. Mm-hmm. And I still believe that. And I'm not going to let go of that belief. Mm-hmm. That childlike faith. I'm not going to let it go. Mm-hmm. I know I know, as they say, I need to put some boots on the ground. I realize that more now than ever. But when I have a need and I have something that's going on and I don't see it, then I know that I serve a God that'll make a way. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying that because that's just a nice little blanket statement. Mm-hmm. I've gone to the gas station to go get gas, and I had money to put the gas in it, but on my way out to the gas station, there was a $100 bill almost next to my car on the ground. I serve a God that will make a way. Mm-hmm. So he won't fall short.
Right.
But I had to learn a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So if I see that you're doing all of this and you're not allowing me to do anything, and you're saying, no, I got this. Now that you're my husband, you got this.
Okay, so like
I didn't think any different. Right. Yeah, no.
So when he was dating,
he wouldn't let me do anything
because he got it.
He got it. So he wouldn't allow me. Then when we got married, now this is just a whole different man, because I didn't meet him, right? I met the guy I was dating. So now when we get married, I meet my husband.
But that's true.
It's totally different.
Yeah, so when he was dating, he had it. But then when they got married,
he don't have it no more.
He had it, but now he's saying
it's a little different.
Now when we got married, he's saying we 50-50. I'm like, whoa, when we agree on that? I never told you how we was 50-50. I didn't say that. But that's what, he went from that to we 50-50.
He went from 100
to 50. Yeah, 50.
Oh.
Only we didn't have that conversation. He must have had that agreement with himself, and he just included me in it, but he didn't never tell me he included me. So when he first said that to me, we 50-50. I said, I never said that. When? We didn't have this conversation. When did I say that to you? We ain't 50-50. I didn't believe in 50-50.
What do you believe when it comes to 50-50?
I don't believe in 50-50. I'm gonna give you 100%, and you gonna give me 100%.
Okay, when it comes to finances,
that didn't include finances. You want my truth, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you what.
Okay, so
it didn't include my finances. If we have a mortgage, you pay the mortgage.
Oh, so y'all?
I'm not giving you 50% of. Are you crazy? That's a whole nother generation. Now there's a whole new generation that say, I pay my own. I come from that generation.
So in your generation, the man should be able to handle things.
If you are saying you're my covering, cover me. If you are saying you're my covering, then cover me. Don't ask me to 50% cover me. I'm just saying.
Well, okay.
Cover me, okay? Now I am your help. I will come along because that's what I should do is help, and I don't have a problem with that. But don't expect me to be a portion of the covering, because that's not my assignment.
Oh, that was good. And so now for the women who are listening to us, back up a little bit. You talked about that like a trust, that y'all didn't discuss finances before y'all got married because of the lack of trust.
And I'm concluding that from my how you say, my view of looking from outside in.
Mm-hmm.
I did not conclude that while I was in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that was what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that along the way. So when I give you that response, it's not that I concluded that while it was happening. I just want you to know that.
Right.
That's me looking outside in versus
now,
inside out.
Right.
Now,
so
yes.
what advice would you give to a woman who's listening to us now if she has this inkling where she don't want to discuss her finances and her fiance, he definitely not going to discuss his finances? What advice would you give her as far as moving forward with a marriage with that?
My advice was you're not ready to get married. Plain simple, as they say, .com. You're not ready to get married. You're not ready to get married, and don't do it.
Why?
Don't do it. Because you're not ready.
Why aren't they
Because
ready?
trust is a factor in marriage. And if you don't have it, then you won't have a marriage. You
Right.
will not. And it may not surface right away.
Mm-hmm.
You may not even see the fruit of the lack of trust right away. And you may have good times and you do all the travel and you laugh together because we could laugh together. We could.
Mm-hmm.
He used to always say I was his best friend.
Mm-hmm. But it was still that lack of trust.
And I did say he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Again, when you see something that's lopsided, then more than likely it's leaning. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that was a big factor. So I would say I didn't realize it was a huge missing piece.
Was that lack
Because
of trust?
I was raised from a different generation, an older generation, that didn't discuss certain things. And so my important part was that he loved God. He was in church. He was serving God. And my biggest thing was if he can love God, he can love me.
Now I need you to elaborate
Oh,
what your
So
conclusion is
to
with
me,
that thought to our audience.
okay, so to me, if you love God, you have a relationship with God, and you have the Holy Ghost, the Holy Ghost will reveal all things to you. So there are certain things that I just don't expect to see happen.
Because he
I
was
don't
in church.
expect that I'm going to experience with you.
Because he was in church.
So I'm not just referring to, and he was in God. No, not even church.
Right.
We don't even have to
God,
talk about church.
yes.
Right,
In God,
okay.
you know God. You are intercessor. You're praying. You're a man of God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the Holy Ghost. So you
Right.
have the perfect man on the inside of you,
It's
right?
well on the inside.
So the perfect man reveals all things.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain things that I just didn't expect to experience with him. I didn't realize. Now, someone say, well, you had the Holy Ghost, then why didn't you receive God for the finances? Because I wasn't aware of the finances. I wasn't conscious of money. I just was not conscious of money. And I believe it came from our roots,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because we didn't talk about money. We didn't talk about how much stuff costs. I don't know how my mama paid for everything. I don't know if she ever missed.
Right. 'Cause
We
she didn't
never
discuss it.
Discussed it. And so if you are not trusting someone that you're expecting to have a life with, ooh, and that's a whole nother subject, and I'm going to hit it for just one moment. Are you marrying this person because they're cute and they're buff and they say all the right things? Because if you are missing it again. Because if he just liked the way your hips and your tips look, then he is missing it.
Yeah.
Because this covenant is not a contract. It's a covenant with God. And when you say that you want to spend your life with someone, it has nothing to do with how cute her thighs are. It has nothing to do with how muscular his thighs are. It has to do with you agreeing to spend a life together, growing together, learning together, falling together, getting back up together, laughing together, crying together, knowing that both of them are necessary. And so this is something, again, that I am learning. I didn't know this in marriage. I didn't know it. I didn't know it in marriage. So I'll share that because I would say stop long enough to think and process. Why am I doing this with them?
Mm.
If you're saying, and I learned this from someone, if you're saying you're doing it because you're in love with them, what's the reason for being in love with them? Is it because they just say all the right things? Don't marry them, because when they stop saying the right things, then you're not no longer be in love.
How about we call it how their body look men?
How
they work out and their body all shaking.
Or the car they driving. They probably late on the payment.
It's a good reason. And he looks nice and he's built, and obviously he's handling his business with his body, which is pleasing to him. But is he doing things outside of that? And then he looks good, and you know he's working out, and so he's good. All of that's good. But when he hits, if he's 20s, 30s, and he's still hitting the gym, wonderful. But what about when he get 50 and 60, he don't feel like hitting the gym? And no longer drinking as much water as he's drinking beer. Because now he's going to get a belly. And if you only fell in love with him because he was hitting the gym, and then when he stopped hitting the gym, did you really feel in love with him? Irreconcilable differences. Really? So you have really, it's funny, but it's true.
It's so
Is she a 24, 36, 24? Because she walking and she eating right and she doing all the things she need to do. And she can fit into all those cute tight dresses and with heels and popping her calves and all that good stuff. Yeah, but what about when she get pregnant? And she gained, like I gained with my first son, 55 pounds.
Are you going to still be in love?
Are you still in love?
Right.
Because that changes. Life changes. And the blessing of life changes is you're growing together. So I can love you without a belly. I can love you with a belly.
That's right.
But I'm not loving you because of your belly or your lack of belly.
Right.
So if that's my reason, then you already lost before you win because those things are going to change.
That's
And
right.
so I wasn't that conscious of that. Why would I be married? Why are we getting married? Because do we want to spend our life together? Do we want to make mistakes together? Do we want to grow together? Do we want to have a business together? We want to find out what we don't know and learn along the way what we should know. Do we want to be in those hard times with each other when you maybe had to go to the hospital? I spent many days in nights and seeing him in a very hard way. And that was very hard. But to me, I was his wife. That was a part of what I did. But when I went to the hospital, he told me he loved me and he'll be back. And he won't tell anybody because he know I'm private. So you going to leave me and not tell nobody I'm in the hospital? The devil is a fool. I'm calling somebody. You're not going to just leave me. And then the other thing was when the doctor said you may have to spend the night, immediately in my spirit, I said, cancel. I am not going to have to stay. I've never been in a hospital. I don't like being in hospitals. So I canceled the thought. But in the meantime, before he even knew if I had to stay tonight, he said, I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow. And I won't tell anybody you're here because I know you're private.
And he was going to be.
And he was leaving.
So that, look, we don't call that love. And so, like now.
But you got to agree. These are the things you're going to have to be, and I'm going to be conscious for whatever reason. If I'm blessed to have that someone again in life, or not again, but that someone like this in my life, then I'll be more conscious of those things. Yeah, I like the way you build. I like the way you talk. I like the nice restaurants, and I definitely like your nice car. But we got to get back.
Right.
If we're going to agree that we want to have a life together, we're going to have to have it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so
we're going to have to have it.
now, like in closing, you're 60 years old. You're starting over. You came to another state where you didn't know anyone. Looking back over your life, I want you to, if there's another 60-year-old woman, maybe her husband told her yesterday that she's getting a divorce. She was unconscious about the finances, and she's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What kind of guidance can you give another woman that's starting over that did not participate in the finances with her husband?
I would say, just from where I sit now, the first thing is know that God is with you. Know that God is with you. That gives me comfort, that gives me comfort every day in what I do, what I see, what I can handle, what I can't handle. The other thing is laugh when it's funny, cry when it hurts, and don't deprive yourself of either, because both are necessary.
Right.
And the last thing I would say would be, the best place when you feel like you want to get away, run away, get away from the noise, just don't want to be around people. The best place to find yourself in is in the presence of God. Soak in His presence. Somebody may say, I don't know what that means. That means cry out to God. Tell Him what's going on. Become vulnerable before God to the point where there's nothing that you won't say to Him in prayer. Just cry out. And if you don't say anything but God help me, that's enough. That's enough. I've learned to just say, God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this. I don't know what's next. I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand what's happening, but help me, God. Help me to understand what you are saying and what you're doing, and just allow him to minister to you. But soak in his presence, meaning just cry out to him. We know that the Bible talks about the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden is a place, an atmosphere that you create. So if you're in your bedroom, if you're in your living room, you're in your kitchen, I'll probably cried out and laid on the floor with either one, at either one. But just create your own Eden, your own atmosphere, and say, God, maybe I haven't allowed you in my life up until now. I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to pray. So I'm just going to ask you to help me. Help me.
Right.
Help me. I don't know what to do. I didn't expect this. I don't know how to handle this. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know who to trust.
And then bouncing back off of that, I need you to give some advice to a woman now who is in a marriage, but she don't have nothing really to do about the finances. She don't know if things are getting paid. She don't know how much money is in the bank. What would you tell that woman?
I would say to her, because I wasn't in that position when I was married, or I wasn't aware of it, I'll put it that way. I would say to her, my idea would be to first educate yourself on finances.
That's a good one. Say it again, sister.
So I would say the first thing that I would say would be to educate yourself on finances.
So what does that entail?
So
does that entail learning the finances of your home, kind of understanding what's going on? What that entail?
So it would if he's on board with it. But if he's not, don't cause conflict. But begin to educate yourself. Even if you have to take a class, there are plenty on the line that you can take for free, where you're just learning about finances, learning what you need to understand of what you need to do financially. Because coming to the table to him, and if he's not in agreement or he's in a whole nother place, it will only cause conflict. So educate yourself in what it means to understand the finances, what you need to do financially to assist in your home. Just educate yourself, even just to go to a class. If he's willing and you guys sit down and talk about it, you're willing because you want an agreement in your marriage. Nothing stops a husband or wife in agreement.
Right.
Nothing stops that.
Right.
The world is open. The sky's the limit, for a husband or wife that comes into agreement. Oh my God. That's golden. That's better than finding a pearl on the beach. So if he's not, then don't cause conflict. Just educate. Just start looking, finding classes that you can read and educate yourself on how to handle your finances. What is the part that you can play? Sometimes not telling him what needs to be done, but letting him see you do it.
Okay, that's good. So
that speaks louder than your words. When he look up and say, "Oh, she paid that," like, "Baby, I'm getting ready." "Oh, did you pay? Did you pay that bill?" "Oh yeah, I did that. I did that a couple of weeks ago."
So you think it's important then for the wife to understand, like, their financial situation, like she needs to know how her husband handles the finances, which you said she really need to know that before she gets married. But when she's in the marriage, she does need to play a part of the finances. You think
there is no way. I don't know any, and maybe someone can help me. Maybe that light just hasn't come on in my life. I don't know a union that both should not play a role in anything in a marriage, because it's not me, it's us. So whether it is, this may sound funny, and I'm just trying to bring it down just a little bit. It could be something as easy as making a bed.
Everything should be.
What are we doing? And I heard someone say this, and it made sense to me. Expecting you to do things when I can do it in the role in the household, I can take out the garbage. I'm like and I'm saying this now because I did.
Oh, you didn't take out?
No, I was working 80 hours a week in the medical field. Okay. When I got off my feet, I was off my feet. So why are you asking me to take out the garbage? I'm confused. You're retired. You're retired. I don't get it. And to now, when I look back and I look, and it's like, if I'm tired and the garbage needs to be taken out, then I may not do it then, but I can take out the garbage. It don't have to be a conversation. But in my teaching and in my thought process, why would I take out the garbage? You're at home. You're retired. I just worked 80 hours. My fear. Why? I don't even know why we're talking about This
Right.
this shouldn't even be a conversation.
Right.
And just do it.
Right.
Just do it. But us agreeing on things and us understanding that this is important, we could have sat down and talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I think. You know, and then he could have shared what he thought, and then we could have came to an agreement. We could have came into an agreement with it versus what?
Right.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. Take out the garbage.
Okay.
I wasn't going to discuss that. That wasn't a conversation to me.
Right.
You're retired. What are you
Right.
doing? I'm
Right.
working.
Right.
And so it's just a matter of conversation,
Mhm.
agreement.
Mm-hmm.
We're here together. We're married.
Right.
Why can't we talk about it?
Talk
We
about
should
it.
be able to talk about it and just come to an agreement. Whether it's you agreeing that you're going to do it or I'm agreeing that I'm not just going to say I'm not going to do it.
Okay, all right. Well, that's so good. And Janet, I want to thank you so much for being here with us. This was very, very good content. And my viewers, I want to thank y'all so much for watching. And if you are divorced, or if you're getting divorced, or if you got your papers by surprise, just know that it's not too late. If you are not conscious about the finances, and you've heard Janet's story and it resonated with you, I encourage you to get in agreement with your husband. Sit down at the table, talk about your financial situation, look and see what your financial status is. Your husband may be struggling, but he's trying to take care of you and protect you. So get involved and know what's going on. And so if you enjoyed the content, I will ask you to hit that subscribe button. We'll be here again next Thursday. And to all of my viewers and my listeners, I would like to say thank you again. God bless, and we will see you next Thursday. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.